And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pascack Clutch Podcast. I'm Matthew Merlino, along with Michael McKay, Sam Koppelman, and Sean Barry. Today we have a special guest, our very own Mr. Scerbo here at Pascack Hills. And let's not waste any time with our new live stream and video setup, and let's get straight into school sports, because the winter sports season just started, and we'll talk about that starting with our Pascack Hills boys basketball team. Unfortunately, 0-2 now with a close loss to Dumont yesterday at home. You watched that on our new home on Huddle TV. That was a 50-45 final there. They lost to Demorest in the opener at Demorest last Thursday. The final score there, 57-56. Our boys bowling team, 1-2. Michael, you're a part of that team, I believe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a close loss to Westwood and a big loss to Indian Hills yesterday, but you did have a big win over Ramsey to get you that one win so far. And good luck on the rest of the season. We'll talk about that in future episodes. Girls basketball is 0-2 with a 56-19 loss to Demorest in their opener on Thursday. A very tough loss indeed. And then at Dumont yesterday, a 58-40 loss, unfortunately, for the girls. They'll be back on Thursday at home against White Morrow, and we'll have coverage of that here on our Huddle TV page. Girls bowling is 1-1. They had a loss as well to Indian Hills yesterday, but an opening win over Ramsey 7-0. For wrestling, they finished in 7th position out of 10 schools in the Wandy Pandy Lay Invitational on Saturday, although Jake Waka, the Columbia University commit, did win the 150-pound tournament, so good for Mr. Waka there. Juliana Kroll, the new Pascack hockey goalie, had 2 straight shutouts to start off the year, with a 5-0 win at Fairlawn to open, and then the home opener, a 10-0 win over Paramus Catholic. Unfortunately, yesterday it was a 6-5 close loss for the Pascack hockey team, their first loss of the year. They are now 2-1. Boys swimming with Pascack Hills and Valley is 2-1 right now, with wins over Paramus Catholic and Old Tapan, a loss to Northern Highlands, however. And girls swimming is 3-0 undefeated, and for the first time in program history, they beat Northern Highlands on December the 12th. So good for the Pascack girls swimming team. And in track and field at the Coaches Hall of Fame Invitational, #1 pole vaulter in the state of New Jersey, Mr. Ben Mandler, the senior here at Pascack Hills, set a new personal record with a clearance of 14 feet 6 inches at the Coaches Hall of Fame meet. It was also Maura Alden winning the 55-meter girls hurdles competition with a time of 8.99 seconds. So congratulations to all of our great athletes here at Hills. Let's hope they continue throughout this winter season and beyond.
For sure.
Now, we'll start with our guest, Mr. Scerbo. You're a history teacher here at Pascack Hills, and you recently wrote a book on the history of the Shore Conference, which I believe you played in as a high schooler, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I grew up down the shore, and that's where I learned to play football, and that's where I first became a football coach. And you know, it was that community meant a lot, so it was exciting to get the chance to write about it.
Well, this is the book. I'm currently reading it. I hope you can see it. 48 Minutes Forever, of course, by our friend Nick Scerbo here. It's the history of the Shore Conference. Monmouth and Ocean County, I believe, those schools down there. Asbury Park, I'm reading about. I'm up to the 60s now, but the big schools that you talk about, Asbury Park and Long Branch, if you're from down the shore, you know those 2 schools were very good back in the day. I know Asbury's not so hot right now. It's more the Catholic schools, I believe.
And Asbury's gotten much smaller.
Yes.
Other high schools opened at one time. Asbury was huge. And you're about to get into Brick Township is another school that becomes very prominent. I think I'm on
I just finished the Manasquan section, so
okay.
I presume we'll get into that shortly. I'm reading this in English class, so whenever my teacher gives us time, I'm diving into this one. You're a big college football fan, and most of our episode today is on college football. We've got the playoff coming up and some big bowl games.
So much to cover.
It's pretty much only football on this episode.
Yeah.
I think you can say college football and the NFL. Anything else you'd like to say about the book?
No, although I would like to say it's. I feel like I've hit the big time to be on this show. I'm honored to get to be a guest on here.
Well, and we're honored to have you on our first live episode. I'm sure for those watching, if there is anybody watching here at Hills, you know Mr. Scerbo from some of our history classes. And for those who aren't watching here at Hills, he's a very good teacher. So if you have kids that are going to Hills, try and get them in a class with Mr. Scerbo here. Well, let's go on to college football, gentlemen. We'll start with the Rose Bowl game, 5 o'clock p.m., New Year's Day on ESPN. Number 4, Alabama, of course, the controversial number 4 ranking against the undefeated Big Ten champions, Michigan, ranked number 1. This may be the big game, but I think Alabama may steamroll.
You know what's crazy is that some sites say that FSU's 4, but it also says some sites say Alabama is 4, which is why we were like last episode when we were gonna record. We were like, what's going on there? Like why is this so? Why is this so switched up?
I believe the AP poll still has Florida State at 4.
It
but
does.
The playoff poll has Florida State at 5. Besides the controversy, let's put that in the rearview mirror because we talked about that in the last episode a lot. This game probably going to be the blowout of the weekend, in my opinion.
Yes,
what do you
agree.
guys think about that?
For Michigan, during the regular season, you see them run the ball a lot. I do believe that J.J. McCarthy's a good quarterback throwing the ball, but with Alabama's good defense and how good they're playing right now, I think Alabama, even though they're the 4 seed, they're going to come into the Rose Bowl and just easily beat Michigan.
Yeah, honestly, I think it really depends how both teams look in the first quarter. Because if either of them looks like they have any sort of weakness, it's over. Because Alabama is going to strike after beating Georgia, who is on a 24-game winning streak, 20-something.
And the heroics in the Iron Bowl against Auburn.
Yeah, exactly.
With, Isaiah Bond there.
And for Michigan, this is their actual real test for them. Can they actually be a good enough team? Because there are only 2 games there are only 2 big games for them is when they play Penn State and Ohio State.
Yep. As per usual in the Big Ten, but that's changing now because they'll be playing Oregon next year when they move Washington.
Oregon, UCLA, Washington.
USC, UCLA. UCLA
they needed to change, honestly. Some of those bigger schools versus some of those more medium-sized schools, it's a night and day difference.
Well, that's how it's been for hundreds of years. There was all the regional conferences, and then now we finally get this playoff where you got the best, or supposed to be the best 4 teams in the country, and you see how good some schools are compared to others.
For sure.
And speaking that next year is also the 12-team playoff, this is going to be a real big change from how this year is going to be to how next year is going to be.
I would say us 4 are pretty excited for that 12-team playoff.
Yeah, we definitely are.
Some of us are pretty excited for that realignment, but I want to hear what Mr. Scerbo says, being more of an old-time fan here. How does he feel about all the changes coming in college
You're
football?
asking me to go in the complete opposite direction. I hate the 12-team playoff. I hate the 4-team playoff. I hated the BCS. I think the Big Ten should play the Pac-10 in the Rose Bowl. I think Nebraska should still be in the Big 8.
Yeah, well,
I have very old-fashioned opinions.
I can agree with that because I would say I'm kind of a balance between the new and the old. As I've told Sean a few times, I think what they should do is keep the bowl games away, as you said. Keep the Big Ten versus Pac-12 in the Rose Bowl. Keep the SEC versus the Big 12 in the Sugar Bowl, and all the other conference bowl games, and then you play the 12-team playoff or whatever playoff after that. I think we should keep the bowls out of it.
I think the bowls should be less dependent on certain things for the future.
I mean, I think the bowls should just be as they were. Like the Rose Bowl was always that big East versus West showdown. That's what it started as. That's what it's been throughout the 100 years that it's been around, and now it's you had an opportunity to have Washington against Texas, which was
they're closer to the Rose Bowl,
which was also pretty much the East versus West showdown, and now instead you've got 2 Eastern teams going all the way out west.
Going back to Alabama and Michigan though, it's going to be interesting to see how Jim Harbaugh game plans could be for this game to keep up with Alabama and how what are they going to do in offense? Are they going to run the ball or pass the ball more?
I have a feeling they'll start with running, and then if that doesn't work out, which I think it won't, they're gonna let McCarthy sling it out more. But who are Michigan's receivers really?
All I know is that their top receiver is number 1 Roman Wilson, and he's a senior. Besides that, I don't really know any guys. And then for running back, they have Blake Corum, aka Blake the Great, and Donovan Edwards.
Yep. So. Should be an interesting game to watch in my opinion. But
for sure.
I think out of the 2 semifinal games, that one's going to be Alabama's favor the whole way. The spread for that, although with our prediction, the spread is -2 in Michigan's favor. They're favored at neutral site. So usually, as we say sometimes when we go over the spreads, they usually add 3 points for home team advantage, but there's no home team advantage in this one because it's neutral site. So I guess we'll go to our first picks of the day, and we're going to have a lot of picks, I think. Bama, Michigan, Rose Bowl. What do you guys think? We'll start with Sam.
Always got to start with me, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's how the order is.
All right. Let's go with Bama.
All right.
Just because I doubted them against against Georgia, I should say.
Yeah, that's fair. Michael, what do you got here?
I'm going to go with Bama. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Remember the Pat McAfee thing? Where at the SEC
troll?
championship where he did the Georgia and then he just said, "Give me Alabama."
Give me Bama.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean,
I love Pat McAfee.
he's all right.
Maybe we'll get him on the show one day. Hopefully,
we'll see. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
that email may go straight to the junk section.
Yeah, definitely.
Sean, what do you got? Bama, Michigan.
I got Bama.
I thought so. We're not going to write it down, but Scerbo, who you got here?
I actually think Michigan will win this game. I think Alabama is more vulnerable this year than they've been in other years, and I think Michigan has been steadily improving each of the past couple of years.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from.
I can see that as well. But if you look at how Bama's improved throughout the year, they started off losing to Texas by 10 at home, and then they
took their quarterback Miller out, putting Buckner, and they went back to Milrow.
I think
and
honestly,
Milrow's improved.
Some of the Nick Saban calling is going to come in here.
Yeah.
Some of the Nick Saban play calling.
Yeah.
This is also my biased Ohio State fan of me. I do not want the team up north to win.
Yeah, can't have Michigan.
Nope.
Let's go to the other semifinal at the All-State Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Number 3 Texas versus number 2 Washington, both conference champions. Texas with 1 loss to Oklahoma, Washington undefeated. Texas did have a win over Alabama earlier in the year. As we said, they're favored by 4.5. ESPN says they have a 70% chance to win this one. What do you guys think?
This game's going to be a great game. We're going to see 2 quarterbacks go off, Michael Penix Jr. and Quinn Ewers, both great quarterbacks. But I feel like Texas, I feel like they're the team. They're going to win this game. I feel like they have a better defense with Washington. I feel like it's going to be a shootout most of the game. But I feel like eventually Texas will just keep scoring. I feel like Texas defense will be too much for Michael Penix Jr.
And I feel like even though Penix is he's one of the top draft prospects, I feel like he can't read a defense for his life.
No.
And this is his first real big test besides those 2 Oregon games, which he barely won both of them.
Yeah.
So we'll see against a team from the Big 12 that just won the Big 12 championship.
In a big win. All the conference championships, the biggest win was Texas winning against Oklahoma State 49-21.
Yeah. So we'll see. What else do we have here? Texas versus Washington. I agree with Sean. This is probably going to be a big,
it's going to be
close game, but a shootout. Close. A lot of points scored here.
This game is also going to be something for NFL teams look to when they go to draft. You have Penix and Ewers, I believe, both going.
Ewers is staying for another year.
Ewers is staying.
So.
And then Penix.
And for Texas, you have, I don't know if he is playing because he did hurt his ankle in the Big 12 championship, but senior wide receiver for Texas, number 1, Xavier Worthy. He's senior, so we'll see if he does play or not. Yeah. But for NFL scouts, if he does play, they're going to be looking at him. And then another starting key player for Texas. He's only a freshman, which is incredible of how great he's playing this year. Number 4 running back, C.J. Baxter. That's also going to be a huge star for Texas.
And Texas could be a good team for the next, 2 or 3 years now. Because you've got Ewers staying for another year. As you said, their running back is a freshman right now. They're moving to the SEC, which will be a big challenge. But I think Texas is going to be underrated team.
They're going to have that dog in there.
They will.
And they got another good receiver they have is Adonai Mitchell. And Adonai Mitchell, he was on Georgia when they won the national championship back-to-back, and he transferred to Texas.
So you got some experience there. National championship experience. As we said, the spread is 4.5 in favor of Texas. They have a 70% chance to win according to ESPN. Gentlemen, what do we have with the picks here? Number 3 Texas, number 2 Washington. Again, Sam.
Horns up.
All right. That's a good call in my opinion. Michael, you're up next.
I'm
You know
rolling with
the
Sam.
order.
I'm
You know
going
the
horns
order.
up.
I'm thinking I'm going 3-4 for the national championship this year. I mean, I can see it.
I agree with you as well. I said it was going to be Texas-Bama, and I think Bama's going to win it.
When we watched that Texas-Bama game weeks ago, that was a good game.
Yes.
And now this could be a really good game to watch.
And then the national championship may be even better.
Yeah.
Sean, Texas, Washington. I
got
know
both
you're
those.
going with the Horns. I knew that was coming. I'm going with
Oh.
Texas as well. So all of us have Texas and Bama in the national championship.
Yeah.
How about that? And I think
How about Mr. Scerbo?
yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, I actually go in the opposite direction. I think there's a long history of Heisman Trophy runners-up going berserk in their ball games, and I think Penix is going to carry Washington.
I can see that. Again, as Sean said, I think that defense is going to be a bit too much for him to handle.
It's going to be so much.
So, for the podcast regulars, we all have Texas, Bama, and the Natty.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we have winning that Natty?
I'm going to go Texas.
That's
If it's
interesting.
Texas
I'll go
and Bama, I
Texas.
feel like if it is Texas and Bama, I feel like Bama is definitely a different team. But how Texas is, I'm probably have to go with Texas and win if that is.
I don't agree with that. I think it's going to be Bama. They're gonna get revenge for that
Yeah.
week 2 loss at home. I know it was by 2 scores, but
Yeah.
I think, as I said, that team has improved a lot since
I
week
agree.
2. I think it's going to be Bama if it is Texas Bama, which it probably will be in my opinion. Michael, last guy to talk.
I'm still gonna go with Texas. Bama was a bit shaky this year, and I don't know how much they can really hold up, especially to a team like Texas, who's been really good all year long.
Now, the hard thing about this is I can see all of these things happening. I can see Michigan and Washington in the national championship. I can see Bama, Texas. I can see any of these 4 teams winning the national championship right now. That's why this playoff,
Honestly,
to send out the 4-team playoff,
I
it's
feel
going
like
to be one of the best.
you kind of just have to see Michigan choke.
I agree with you.
Because-
They lost to TCU last year as the 2
And they
seed.
still had J.J. McCarthy too last year.
I remember
But I
that.
mean, obviously, I agree.
Can I just say?
Yeah,
Can I just say J.J. McCarthy is a knockoff Joe Burrow without the clutch moments.
Honestly,
He looks like him. He acts like him. But where's the
He's
clutch?
Joe Burrow of this year.
Yes.
like
Just
Yes.
nowhere to be seen.
What has happened?
But
Like-
even though McCarthy, Michigan last year, I do agree with Mr. Scerbo. I do agree that Michigan and their players have definitely improved. So I won't be surprised if they do beat Bama.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
any of these
Yeah,
4
anything can
teams.
happen.
It can be any
Sure.
of these combinations. And I think this playoff is going to be possibly the best playoff that we've ever had.
all you need now is
Best
McCarthy.
playoff in a while.
Yes.
All you need now is the McCarthy to wear the swag like Joe Burrow did in the Super Bowl, and you
that's
really
not
do have a knockoff Joe Burrow.
Well, he already looks like him. He's got the hair. He's got the actions and all that stuff.
But he doesn't have the clutch.
No, he doesn't.
Clutch.
We'll find out. Number 5 versus number 6, the playoff runners-up, I guess, those who didn't make it, in the Capital One Orange Bowl on December 30th. This is also a very big game to watch because if Florida State wins, I think they may pull a UCF and claim the national championship again. They play Georgia, though, so if they do win, that's a pretty big win for them. Spread's minus 14 in Georgia's favor.
Yeah.
But the matchup predictor only has 60% chance to win. They don't have Jordan Travis. They're probably going to have the backup playing.
No, we have a third string.
Well, I
Because
think,
Tate Rodemaker got hurt.
yeah, but I think he's back. I think he was just in concussion protocol. so he
Maybe.
should
I'm
be
not
back
entirely
for the bowl,
sure.
But I'm not
But-
sure.
I think Georgia you just have to give it to Georgia at this
They're
point.
just going
Yeah,
to
Georgia's-
steamroll, aren't they?
It's just gonna steamroll.
The
Because
third string for Florida State's not going to be able to do anything with
Or the
Georgia's
backup,
defense.
in my
Yeah.
opinion, because you saw in the Louisville game and in the ACC championship. Well, that was the Louisville game,
Yeah.
but in the Florida game as well, they barely had any offense. So,
They're going to have a little chip on their shoulders from controversially not making the playoffs, but I don't think it's going to hold up.
and
I'm
George
gonna
is
agree with
going to have some anger from losing to Alabama in the SEC championship.
Yes.
game.
So, going back to the Bama and Georgia State championship game, you know Bama did win. I feel like Bama did get lucky though in that game because that wasn't Georgia's best team out there. Their best guys were not healthy. Some were still hurt. Brock Bowers was still injured. I don't another wide receiver of them. What's his name? McConkey or something.
Yeah, Lad McConkey.
Yeah, he was still hurt. Like the team wasn't really healthy. I mean, you can't make excuses. Big game, you gotta win. But like, I feel like if those two guys were really healthy, that could have definitely been a game changer, big difference for Georgia to win the game.
Let's go over to Michael's favorite, Ohio State, number 7 ranked in the nation, playing number 9 Missouri in the Cotton Bowl. That's 8 o'clock on December the 29th. You guys have some big news coming out of your quarterback department.
Yeah.
You're getting the 5-star named Air Nolan. Yes, his name is Air. That's his real name. We're
Kinda
not
sick.
making that
Yeah,
up.
it's like it was an
Air Nolan, I believe.
A-I-R-E or A-I-R.
I'm not sure the spelling, but I remember his name was Air.
Now,
Yeah, I know.
If his last name was McNair, then we really would have had something
Steve
interesting.
Air McNair, the old Titans quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that does mean Kyle McCord is out, and he won't be playing in your game here against Missouri, which is a very underrated team.
They're gonna have quarterback Noah Brown playing.
Yes, but McCord has transferred to Syracuse. For those who want to know, Marvin Harrison, good news for you. He's staying for his senior year, and more bad news for you. That just came out. That wide receiver. This, of course, being National Signing Day, he was committed to you. I believe he was a 4-star. You told me, but he
4 or
is
5-star, but
we're not sure.
Decommitted from Ohio State to instead go to Oregon. What used to be a conference shift is now just 2 teams in the Big Ten.
And they're going to be versed next season too.
Yes. So you're not going to have your starting quarterback. You're going to have Marvin Harrison, which could be a plus. But this Missouri team is very underrated.
I can say Missouri. They're gonna play this game like it's a Super Bowl for them. I feel like Missouri's gonna win this game. Yeah.
Wasn't Julian Fleming or someone else transferring?
One of them is.
Yeah. So
I don't really. Yeah.
It's gonna be real interesting to watch how this goes. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if we can win it. I don't know.
I agree.
Maserati Marv may be covered too much.
It's very hit or miss.
Missouri's going to come into this game. They're going to have, like, it's Super Bowl, like I said again. They're going to be ready to go. I feel like it's going to be too much for Ohio State.
This could be it for Ryan Day.
Yeah.
What happens if Ryan Day loses here?
And what happens if you fire Ryan Day? Who are you going to get? There's a lot of questions.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that could be it. Interestingly, the spread is in Missouri's favor by 1 point, but the matchup predictor says they only have a 25% chance to win. Very interesting indeed in the Cotton Bowl this year.
Weird statistics going on.
It's
Really
all,
weird statistics
all
going
interesting. One last bowl to go over, and then I'll let Scerbo talk about something if he wants to. We got the Peach Bowl. That's number 10 versus number 11. 12 o'clock on the 30th as Michael goes to get some water. We got Penn State against Ole Miss. Penn State favored by 4. I know many of you at Hills are Penn State fans, so this is for you. And they have a 75% chance to win over Ole Miss. One of the better teams in the SEC. Not the best, but one of the better ones. That should be a good game to watch, I think.
Yes, I think that game's also going to be a shootout with both explosive offenses.
Yes.
You Penn State's quarterback Drew Aller and Ole Miss's QB. They're both 2 good quarterbacks.
Jackson Dart and Drew Aller, both with over 2,000 passing yards. Dart with almost 3,000, Aller with almost 2,500. So, as Sean said, it should be a shootout there.
Yeah.
You're an older fan. We got no conference realignment, no BCS. You like the pollsters. You got anything else you don't like that you want to air out right now?
No.
Anything possibly controversial?
No,
How about Florida State?
Let's start some
I kind of want
controversy.
to hear your opinion there.
I think Florida State should have been in. And my logic for that would honestly be that I think you can't take the 4 based on prediction. You have to take the 4 based on what they did, what their resume is.
Yes.
Because then you may as well just plug it into a computer and play them on Madden.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Or the college football
Or the new college football
coming out.
game.
Yep.
That's gonna
Which
be
is
fun
a
to watch.
great return. I'm glad to
Yes.
have that back.
And
Yeah.
we are too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I'm
Sean,
gonna be
Sean,
on that
is,
game all
Sean
summer.
has his summer planned out already.
He was
gonna be
going crazy
working,
about it during
and
lunch.
then when it comes out in July, he's already saving up. He's got like $200 in Xbox gift cards ready for him.
Yep.
And he has said once summertime comes around, that is all he's going to be doing. He's going to be working, drinking soda, and playing a college football video game.
Nice.
And why not do that, honestly?
Why not?
Living the life.
Living
Why
the life.
not?
And
Honestly.
just wait till school starts. He's not gonna be doing anything
Oh,
smart
yeah.
because
Sean,
he's still gonna
Sean,
be playing.
Sean won't even show up to school because he'll just be in year 25 of his dynasty
School?
with
What
Texas.
school? He'll
No.
show up for this, and he'll show up for the football games.
Yeah, for the
and
football.
then
What do you
that's
mean?
it.
What do you mean 25th season? He's gonna be on year 45 by
That's
then.
true. That's true. And he'll still be playing on rookie mode.
I'm gonna be playing all my head-to-head, man.
That as well. If they have it. If they have it.
I think they
Probably
will.
Then again, it's EA, so you never know.
Yeah, you never know. It'll probably just be Ultimate Team if we're all
Ultimate
being
Team
honest.
franchise.
If we're lucky.
Oh, God. That's gonna be fun though. We're probably we should do an online dynasty for that.
That would be so funny.
That should be great.
Just get a Hills thing going here.
Yeah. I mean, 122 teams. We got 500 kids here. We might as well.
Honestly.
All right. Well, I think that's the college football segment done. Well, let's go on to, as we call it, everybody's favorite sport. It's not ours, but it's most people's favorite sport, the National Football League. And we'll start with Mr. Michael McKay, the Raiders fan. Mike, I'll give you a minute and a half.
Okay.
Maybe two. Let's go.
Okay. So,
Oh boy.
number one, not being here for the past 2 weeks.
He's looking at the camera now, everybody.
Please tell me, how does a team go shut out 0-3 at home to then the next week proceed to put up franchise record 63 points to 21 points? Thank God Brandon Staley got fired. For the Chargers fans, sadly, I wish he stayed so we could do that more and more, especially with Easton Stick, who I had no clue who he was coming into this
Hockey.
Yep. It's just a hockey stick.
It's the hockey stick.
game. Honestly. And he was a broken stick in the first half. 42 points. How many times did the Chargers fumble? I believe 5 times. Plus, one of those fumbles being a fumble 6 by D-tackle Jonathan Jenkins. And then, in the second half, pick 6 by their new acquisition, Jack Jones from the New England Patriots, with an insane pick 6, one-handed, catching the screen pass off guard and running it to the house. Tell me how that happens. I don't know, but I am loving it going into this Chiefs game next week.
And the Chiefs aren't looking very good, are they?
No.
I mean, yeah, that could be a big upset. It is in Kansas City, though.
It
so
is.
That'll be tough.
Mhm.
If Taylor Swift is there.
And
maybe
on
it's
Christmas too.
If
And
Taylor
on
Swift is
Christmas,
there,
yeah.
Travis Kelsey's going crazy. You
On
already
Christmas.
know.
Honestly.
Well, he didn't go that crazy this week.
But then players, I remember last year, Christmas Day, but players were warming up on the field with their shirts off, with headphones on.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
yeah,
just football for you.
those Raiders guys are tough. Not as tough as they were in Oakland, but they're still tough in Vegas.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the New York Jets, but first I want to say, Scerbo, who are you a fan of? We didn't get that.
The
before
New
show.
York Football Giants.
Ah,
Yes.
he's a Giants fan, so
He's
I'll give you a little bit to
Uh,
talk about Mr. DeVito over there.
Yeah.
Mr. Tommy Cutlets.
Mr. Tommy Cutlets. He said he did make that appearance at the pizza joint where he
Mhm.
upped the price for it,
And
and,
apparently
then,
at
and then he just
Bosco,
came
too.
over for free.
I saw
Yeah,
something
I
about
saw
Bosco.
he went to Bosco though. But I want to talk about the Jets because it's over, guys. If any of you are Jets fans, I know most of the guys from Woodcliff Lake are. It's over.
You guys can still get a ring. You just have to buy whoever the team that wins ring.
We just got to buy a ring pop. That's all right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Just buy the green
That's
ring
been-
pops.
that's been-
Just
that's
buy
been
everyone
a-
a bunch of ring pops.
that's
Just buy
been-
53 ring pops.
That's been our ring since the 1970s.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Rodgers isn't playing. He's going to play next
Confirmed?
year. Yeah, confirmed. He said he's not going to play this year. I mean, not like confirmed, but he said he's not playing.
Yeah.
And I think it passed the deadline to activate him anyway, so it's it's pretty much
Yeah.
over. There's always next year, but we've been
It's pretty
saying that
terrible.
since 1969.
Honestly.
Yeah.
You've been
In
saying
ter-
that since the butt fumble.
In terms of this week, another embarrassing loss to the Miami Dolphins in Miami this time, 30-0, the final score there. Trevor Siemian, our passing leader, unfortunately. Get ready, because it's time for the ape, Trevor Siemian, the Siemian. And he plays like an ape too, honestly. Like it's so bad.
It's ugly.
It's so bad. I mean, the NFL as a whole is ugly, but even
like a 9. Like
so
people are going crazy over a 9-7 win.
I know.
And for Carolina.
Yeah.
Like
Trevor Siemian
that
was a
is not
former
good.
top draft pick by the Broncos, like in 2017.
Yep, I remember that. And then he's had a few starts before. I think he had a start last year.
But he ain't no Josh Rosen.
No, he is not. No, he is not. Let's go over to the Giants. Tommy DeVito got hurt a little bit. Came back, though. Finished with 177 yards passing, no touchdowns, and the final 24-6. The Giants fans, Sean, you're not exactly an NFL fan, but I know you are. So let's hear what the Giants fan has to say here.
Well, it was nice after they beat the Packers to get to watch a game on Sunday, and I think the best you can say about the Giants right now is a classic 4-word phrase: not yet mathematically eliminated.
Well,
now I don't know how much
Money
longer
ball.
they will not yet be mathematically eliminated
You
for.
can say that about a lot of teams right now.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yes.
How long till they follow Carolina 45-cent games and they still almost lose?
All I'm saying is Moneyball.
Wow.
Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, well, mathematically, you guys still are alive, but in realist terms, you are not.
Will Tommy Cutlets get his redemption back on Christmas?
There's
Tommy
no
Cutlets
way.
will beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Christmas
Next
Day.
thing you know-
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
The script is written.
I know.
Yes.
Next you know, the Giants beat Eagles. Next you know, on the field, they're giving chicken
Yep.
cutlets out to the Giants.
That would,
They're
that would
giving
be
cutlets
pretty
out for free
Next-
to everyone in the
Yep.
stadium.
Yep.
Next year,
Well, it's in Philly, so
next
that's
year
not gonna
Tommy
happen.
Cutlets
Yeah.
plays Thanksgiving. They're not bringing out no turkey. They're bringing out chicken cutlets.
If he's still playing by then.
Yeah, assuming he's still playing.
Daniel
Game of the
Jones
week.
who?
Last week we only had one. It was the Bills-Cowboys game. Didn't end so hot. 31-10 Buffalo, and the Cowboys falling to 10-4. They are tied with the Eagles still for the lead in the NFC East.
Yeah.
Both have clinched a playoff spot. Despite the loss, the Cowboys clinched the playoff spot, and despite the Eagles' loss, they clinched the playoff spot.
Allow me, gentlemen. Dallas, what happened? How do you lose to Buffalo?
No, Buffalo's a pretty good
Buffalo's
team.
Buffalo's
alright.
been up and down this year, still fighting. They're in the hunt.
I
They
think
have been.
it's just the fact that Cowboys fans say that they won Super Bowl, they think the greatest team. But when you look at their wins, they don't like their only good win is against the Eagles.
They have the ninth.
They don't
They have
have.
the. I think it was like I saw something online last night where it said that the Dallas Cowboys have like the 6th or the 9th hardest schedule in the league, while the Eagles only have the first hardest schedule at like 11 and not at like 10-3 as of like a couple of days ago.
Well,
But like I said,
But even though we're 10-4 now, like
yeah.
we still have the hardest schedule.
I mean, this is how it goes every year. The Cowboys always
Yeah.
play good in the regular season. They get hyped up for the playoffs, and then they lose in the divisional
and, like-
round.
and they get
To the
blown out.
49ers.
Yeah.
I've been
Blown
saying that
out.
Yeah.
I've been saying that since week 1 to the Dallas Cowboys fans. They're
Well,
not doing
history
anything.
repeats
and
itself.
like I said, when you look at the wins, besides winning that game against Philly, the other teams they've beaten are not that good.
They
they
haven't-
even lost to some bad teams.
They
too.
haven't had a proper win over against a good over 500 team,
Except for the
except for the Eagles. Except for the Eagles.
Except for
Yeah.
the
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Wait, are we talking about the Dallas Cowboys or Miami Dolphins?
What?
Both
Both.
the same.
Both the same.
We were talking about the Cowboys, but now that you bring that up, they're both the same.
They're
Yeah.
basically the same team right now, but one is just more better.
Yeah. Final game to talk about in the NFL, Eagles-Seahawks on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
To cap off what you said, and to be
Oh boy.
an annoyance to Sam.
Eagles, what happened?
You
How do you-
lost to Drew Lock and the Seattle Seahawks. I know it's in Seattle.
I don't
on
want
Monday
to
Night
talk
Football.
about it.
Well, you
I
better
mean,
talk
I mean,
about it.
Seahawks. They're a good
They're
football
pretty
team.
good.
They're a
I mean,
mid
they
team.
almost beat
No,
Dallas.
They're
They're good.
They're above
Their
average.
defense is
They're gonna
really
be a
good
wild
this year.
card team.
Their
Their
I
defense
think.
is really
They're
good this year.
They're probably going to be a wild card.
Like I feel like I could say like their offense could be like a bit mid or maybe above mid, but their defense is really good. I feel like almost kind of like the Saints with their offense. It could be but their defense is still really good.
Yeah,
just like
it's a solid
Seahawks.
defense.
Geno Smith, who?
In fantasy, I know it's just fantasy, but fantasy, they're one of the top 10 point producing defenses. I think what are they? Number 8, number 9?
I'm not sure. I don't really keep up with those fantasy stats.
And I'm not surprised that Eagles still lose because Seattle, if they wanted to continue, if they want to get to the playoffs, they actually needed to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. That ends this past week in review for the NFL. Now looking at the playoff picture, the Ravens the only team to clinch in the AFC. The Niners, Cowboys, and Eagles have all clinched in the NFC, with the Niners clinching the division. The Dolphins are second in the AFC. They have a chance to clinch the AFC East this week. I'm not sure the exact scenario, but I know they have a chance to do that. Chiefs and Jags leading their division, and then Browns, Bengals, and Colts, the wild card teams. AFC playoffs are going to be.
You know what? Do you know what? I can't believe the Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco right now. They are 9-5 right now.
And
Same record as the Chiefs.
And they're the first wild card team by a game. Not even by tiebreaker. It's by a game.
By a game.
That's incredible.
And
On
the Browns,
bubble, the Texans without C.J. Stroud, not looking good for them without Stroud. I mean, look at this past
and Cleveland's defense is pretty good.
I agree, but remember, there's 7 spots, so it's gonna be.
Who knows?
And just like they say, any given Sunday.
And then in the NFC, Lions and Bucks leading their division, and the Vikings and Rams 6th and 7th. The Eagles and Cowboys still fighting for the NFC East. I believe the Seahawks, yes, they're 8th. They are out on tiebreakers at the moment. Right now, the 6th, 7th, and 8th seeds, and I believe more, are all 7-7 in the NFC. So that'll be big. Coming up, it's Christmas Day. We got Monday Night Football as our game of the week. 8:15 on ABC. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. Ravens, Niners, possibly a Super Bowl preview. 2 of the best teams in their conference, respectively. It is San Francisco favored at home by 5.5. They have a 64% chance to win, according to ESPN. We got a minute left. Let's make these picks quick. Sam, you're up first.
Let's go. Who is it? Niners.
Niners and Ravens.
Niners.
Niners are favored by 5.5.
Niners.
Michael?
I'm going to follow and pick the Niners.
Yep, that's what I expected. Sean?
I got the Niners. Also, Super Bowl 47 rematch.
Yes, I'm going to go with the Niners. That defense is way too good for them. But it's two
Christian
great
McCaffrey, 3 touchdowns last game.
It's 2 of the most well-balanced teams on Christmas Day. So I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Anything that you guys have left to say?
Happy New Year.
Also, what happened to the Devils last night? 3-2 loss.
Hockey doesn't matter until
Yeah.
February.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Again, they did activate Aaron Rodgers. That's some breaking news, but it doesn't matter, Jets fans. Again, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Thank you to Mr. Scerbo for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you have a great day and a great holiday break. For Michael McKay, Sam Koppelman, and Sean Barry, this is Matthew Merlino. So long from the Pascack Clutch Podcast, and have a Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2024.